During the 15th and 16th centuries, Europe went mad, executing sorcerers and witches accused of practicing lycanthropy. Fueled by church politics and a deep-rooted misunderstanding and fear of mental illness, the werewolf trials accused men, women, and children of transforming into wolves and lapping up the blood of innocents. Historic accounts of werewolves and their inhumane trials started in Switzerland and then spread like wildfire to Germany, France, and the Balkans. Kings and church officials alike appointed judges to rein in these werewolves, torture them within an inch of their lives, and produce confessions that merited brutal executions. Now, we'll explore a lost chapter in European history as we discuss the werewolf trials of Europe.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. I'm Boogeyman, and that is radio.
It's one of my favorite movies, dude.
Hell yeah.
It's a good movie. Good to see everybody. Glad to be back. Hope you're all doing okay. What's up,
Indeed.
everybody? Hi, Cassie. Hi, Josh.
We've got like a really cool show for you guys.
Yes.
This is something that I've been wanting to talk about on here for a while, and we just never did yet. There's a lot of things we haven't done yet, and we got
Yes.
in store. But the werewolf trials of Europe, it's something that I've not really heard anybody talk about before.
I don't think I have either.
I'm just gonna say that I'm sure that somebody has done it, but you know, I've not heard it. So that being said, that's our subject tonight, and I think you guys are gonna love it. Every show is
Cassie.
really cool.
Because we only do stuff that is really cool.
He's got a point. You can't argue with it. It's science.
It is factual science.
Fauci said so.
You know, and you know, if you want to listen to it, yeah, I say Fauci. They say trust the science.
Fauci.
Science is fact now, apparently. So
I wanted to call him fascist, but I was like, oh, Fauci. We're gonna combine it anyway. Sashimi.
How was your week, dude?
My week was pretty good.
Good. That's what I love to hear.
The whole first part of the week was kind of a blur, but I got my daughter on Saturday, and we just had a blast.
Tell you what was a major blur that next day after our live reaction channel.
Yes, I was fine afterward, but you were.
I was not fine. I was not fine. I mean, actually, technically, I didn't feel like I was hungover. I just felt like I was still
drunk.
Yes, very much so.
He was so drunk, I thought he was going to show me his tits.
No, I wouldn't say it was that.
One more drink, and you would have pulled your shirt over your head.
One more drink, and I was going to either pass out or something else. Anyways, because I was ready. You saw me. I was laying back in the chair like,
yeah, you were good.
That was a good time. That was a fun show.
But y'all missed it.
Yeah, it was
wasn't on fun. Boogeyman, just so you know. It's on we've got a reaction channel called Two Drunk Fucks. And let's just say
movies, music videos.
It's exactly how it sounds.
Exactly. Is that live reaction channel? Yes, it is, Cassie. I know the comments are delayed, so it's
now that video though did get blocked because of 3 days grace.
But I am going to go ahead and find.
I did challenge it though.
You did challenge it? Good.
I challenged it.
Cassie, I'll grab the link for you so you can take it like to the channel if you want to hop on over there and subscribe. We'll see if I can. Yeah,
so, yeah, like the rain subsided like for this weekend, for Memorial Day weekend, which was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And My daughter and I, we went to a friend's house, went swimming in the pool and stuff like that. And we had water gun fights, and it was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, we so butthurt for 3 Days Grace. I actually I started ripping them from the get go because to me, 3 Days Grace just doesn't sound the same anymore.
Yeah.
I know the lead singer is a douche, but it just they don't sound as good anymore, and it sucks. But anyways, I'm glad you had a good time with your daughter. Glad you had a great time.
Yeah, it was great. Like the weekend turned out great, and she literally just left before the show. So.
Oh wow, nice, good timing.
Yep.
Good timing. Well, for me, I had to work Memorial Day weekend and weekday, so that was great. I don't like it, but I'll do it because time and a half, and we have events going on that day, so no big deal. But I would much rather be at the lake or doing.
Oh hell yeah!
Like that used to be Memorial Day and Labor Day used to be a big celebration for my family, for going down, doing lake trips, and going on vacation and stuff like that. So I miss that. I miss it a lot. But that's all right. It was still a good week though. Had a lot of fun. Surprised there's not more flooding going on with how much rain we've been getting.
Yeah,
it's been nuts. But something irregular though. Mexico had its first freaking hurricane already.
Dang.
Not even hurricane weather, and they already have hurricanes. What the heck? It's just crazy. But it was solid though. I'm ready for this topic and next week's topic too.
Dude, next week's gonna be a great one.
I think I'm so. Yeah, werewolves are cool and all, but I've always wanted to talk about next week's topic. So
let's go ahead and tell them what we're doing next week. Next week, we are starting our saga, because I'm sure this might be a multiple episode show or topic of we're going to look into.
I thought you were talking about something else.
What, next week's show?
Yeah.
Well, it might end up turning into a multiple.
Lizzie Borden was not a part of witchcraft.
No, we were going to do the Salem witch trials for October. Remember?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the Lizzie Borden thing. It could end up being.
What saga are you talking about?
It could end up being a multi-episode thing. So
that's starting because Lizzie Borden was the big. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
So starting next week, we will be talking about the Lizzie Borden murder as well as the trial.
Yes.
So,
her changing up her story constantly.
Buckle up! It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, I've always liked, that was probably one of the first ghost stories I remember really not hitting hard, but just oh, well, this is interesting. She killed her parents. Whoa, weird, crazy.
I mean, at some point, I think every teenager kind of imagines it. What would it be like if I murdered somebody, or that the story kind of hits a little bit.
It's a little personal, but
maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that's thought about killing people when I was a teenager. Well, apparently not. I mean, we did have a school shooting, so.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But enough about that. Let's get to what really matters: werewolves.
Hey, before we get into that, I gotta plug a couple things.
All right, go for it.
Let's plug a couple things. Number one, guys, if you haven't yet got your Boogeyman radio t-shirts, visit the Haunting History store at hauntinghistory.threadless.com. Pick that up. You see that Haunting History shirt there? I am wearing that one, but in a different color.
Love it.
And it feels nice and it breathes well. Get the you got to get this certain kind of shirt, the quality shirt. You can get varying qualities of shirts, different sizes and all that, different colors. I just have black on all those just because it, paranormal field. If people don't wear black, they're not really ghost hunters. So I threw the green one in there because I like that Kelly green with the red and black.
Yeah.
But yeah, go over there, show some support, get you a custom t-shirt. There's also home goods in there as well. So grab one of those. Also, guys, coming up this October on the 7th and 8th, the Haunting History Paracon is taking off. We have sold quite a few tickets already, and I've done minimal advertising. The VIP tickets are almost sold out. Yeah. So if you want to get your tickets, I mean, you better get them. And if you know anybody that's interested in becoming a vendor, They could also visit the hauntinghistoryparacon.com. hauntinghistoryparacon.com. Go to that website. There's a vendor app. So if you or your team wants a booth there, fill out the vendor app. Cost is only $60. So it'd be worth it. And it's for 2 days. I mean, you're not paying $60 for each day. It's just $60 for the entire weekend. We're going to have concerts. We're going to have gallery readings from psychics. We're going to have investigations. It's going to be a blast. Guys, check it out. hauntinghistoryparacon.com.
It's going to be a great time. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
And check it out. See, I'm not lying. I'm wearing the Haunting History shirt.
Boop, boop. And I want to say hi, Lori. Make sure we didn't forget about that. And
yes.
Yeah, Cassie, definitely recommend getting one. Definitely recommend it. I'm currently mine's in the dryer, but it's all good. My Boogeyman radio shirt's finally here and in the dryer. I would have worn it tonight, but I kind of slacked. But that's all right. Okay, it's okay. They kind of smell interesting when you first get them. It's just like, huh, this is a peculiar smell.
Yeah. Yeah, I washed mine too. I was like, I can't stand the smell of it. But
I couldn't either.
I should have got the kind of fabric that this is one of those soft tees. It's like super soft and it breathes really good.
Nice. Yes.
So
shoot, real quick, do I need to actually that's something I can talk to you after the show. Don't worry about it. It has to do with Paracon.
No, go ahead.
Do I need to buy tickets?
No.
Okay, cool.
Why would I? Yes, Charles, I'm going to charge you.
I'm just making sure, man.
For each day.
Just making sure.
No.
The fee is just showing up, right?
Yeah, just
it's
show
mandatory
up.
to be there.
Yeah. No,
so
you
bring a table and a booth and a banner for Boogeyman Radio?
I mean, I'm not going to be at the booth at all. It'll just be you.
I'd rather be walking around talking to people. Not gonna.
Yeah, go ahead and do that because cool. I'm going to be walking around trying to manage everything, micromanaging because that's what I do.
Well, that's you. That's very fair. All right.
All right,
Shall
guys.
we get into this?
Let's get into it.
I am excited. So Dave and I scoured the internet, perused the internet, if you want to say, looking for some fantastic tellings of werewolves and some of the first accounts. Don't
lie to them. We didn't just scour the internet. We went through historical archives and literature. We went to the Vatican. We went to Israel. We went to.
You can't just say we
Germany.
We went to the Vatican. We got deep secret access to the Vatican.
Yeah, we got to look at stuff that nobody gets to look at, and what we found may surprise you.
May.
I just didn't want to lie to them.
Jesus was a werewolf. That's it. I said it. That's the show. Bye. Anyway,
they're coming after us.
They are coming after us. Illuminati. All right. So first, I'm going to start it off with actually two storytellings, not necessarily factual evidence because we don't know if it's fact or not. What's up?
You said Illuminati, and the first thing that came to my mind was Illuminati.
Illuminati. That should be a Boogeyman radio shirt.
Become part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, just
spell it naughty.
Illuminati, and then like some weird like pyramid like picture.
Just make the pyramid look like a vagina or something. Not completely like one, but like just to where it looks like somebody would see it and be like, you know what? That kind of looks like a.
This is not After Dark, sir.
It's the Illuminati.
Just spell it Illuminati instead.
Like the eye could be like a sideways.
I wonder if that's actually a real thing.
It's PG-13. I'm sorry.
I wonder if someone's actually come up with that already.
Hey, not to my knowledge. And
hashtag trademark Boogeyman Radio.
Yes, copyright.
Illuminati. Anyways,
trademark by Boogeyman Radio 2022.
Exactly. So today, in today's world, there are two tellings of the werewolf that people argue that whether it's the first time someone ever talked about werewolves or not. And the first time was one of them, they say, is the Epic of Gilgamesh. So, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, you have, let's see here, the story, obviously, of Gilgamesh, the God King. And in this story, Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, love, war, and sex, is supposedly in love with our hero Gilgamesh, and so she flirts with him. Gilgamesh, however, rejects her advances because of how she treated her past suitors. One suitor in particular comes to mind, a young shepherd that had fallen in love with the goddess. He left her bountiful offerings at a shrine on a mountainside, and at first the arrogant Ishtar encouraged him. But eventually she grew bored with his devotions and transformed him into a wolf.
Okay.
He was then torn to bits by his very own hounds, so you can see why Gilgamesh turned her down. So that, some say, is the first telling of of a werewolf of some sort.
Technically.
A man turning into a wolf, But then others would argue that it was actually Nikaros is the first telling. Oh shoot, gotta find it here. Let me make sure I'm not wrong. Nikaros is the first telling of the werewolf story. Oh gosh darn it, so many tabs.
It's hard to keep tabs.
It is. It is very difficult.
See, that could be like one of those. Now I'm brain farting because reality is changing. This is one of those things that was a futuristic thing, the tabs, but it was a thing that was said back then. It was created in like the future.
Very true.
Time travel probably brought that back and was like, hey, it's hard to keep tabs. Somebody's like, dude, that's catchy. I'm going to say that again.
Okay, so here we go. So the tale of Nikaros, a man turning into a wolf.
Mandela effect.
Many scholars argue that Gilgamesh was the first werewolf story, but since there was no actual transformation in the story, some don't count it. And which is weird because technically her turning him into a wolf is a transformation, but whatever.
I think that would classify more as like witchcraft, when they would turn somebody into a frog.
Yeah, okay.
But
instead, they believe the first story came from the Satyricon, which I think the name is just fantastic, by the way.
Satyricon?
Yeah, a work written by a Roman writer, Petronius, AD 27 to 66.
And the dude had a good name.
Yeah, Petronius, absolutely.
Hell yeah, smooth.
A scribe at the court of the Emperor Nero. And like many writings of the time, it is a humorous discussion of philosophy in alternating prose and verse. The work was written around AD 61, but wasn't actually published until 1664.
Damn.
That's quite a long time after.
That's a long wait to get published.
It is. So the Satyricon is a collection of stories that follows the travels and tales of two friends, Eclopius and Gita, but also contains the story of Nikaros. It's either Nikaros or Nissaros. I'm not quite sure.
I would say Nissaros, just so it doesn't sound like you're saying something else.
Nikaros.
Yeah.
A soldier that traveled to a distant city with an acquaintance. While on their way, they stopped at a graveyard to relieve themselves. Why a graveyard? Who knows?
Assholes.
Right.
They were assholes. And they were drinking.
To poor Nissaros' horror, his companion then laughs wickedly, making a circle of urine around himself, rips off his clothes, and then transforms into a wolf, howls, and runs off towards the nearby town, leaving a very stunned Nissaros behind. I'd be pretty stunned too if your best friend just turned into a like peed in a circle and then turned into ripped all his clothes off and turned into a wolf.
Honestly, you know what? This is kind of funny, but it sounds like a Jägermeister commercial from Germany.
God.
You ever seen the one where the dude
No.
drinking Jägermeister and he wakes up and he fucking ate a deer's throat out?
No.
And he's lying naked on the ground. You haven't seen that? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he turned into a werewolf. Maybe this is what that was going back to,
Maybe. They stole their idea. So Nissaros then goes over to the man's discarded clothes, only to discover that they have been turned to stone. What? It doesn't end there, though. Poor frightened Nissaros walked to town so afraid that he attacked every shadow with his sword. Sounds like this dude was high on something.
High ass.
Just saying. When he gets there, he is told by a woman that a horrifying wolf killed off a handful of farm animals, but was then speared in the throat by a servant, putting an end to the wolf ban. There are, of course, many underlying meanings hidden in this tale, like urinating in a graveyard was an insult to the dead and would cause supernatural punishment. Either way, it was humorous in a strange ancient story. So, that's the other, what really happens with the right drugs. Exactly, Josh. Exactly. So, that's the two early accounts of some sort of wolf man.
I can just see it, man. He's like, look at me, I'm gonna do witchcraft. Whee!
Yeah, I'm just the earliest forms of witchcraft confirmed. Peeing in a circle in a graveyard.
I don't have any salt, but I've eaten a lot of
This'll
salt.
work.
This is salty
Keeps you
enough.
cursed for life. Gosh, that's horrible.
Oh man.
The thing is, would he stand in one spot and just like rotate in a circle, or would he
Yeah,
actually
you would have to.
just like run around in a circle?
No, you would have to stand in the circle because once that circle's complete, you got to be at the center of the circle.
Good point. And he would be the center of the circle. Okay. I see what you mean. I see their logic there.
Well, let's see how many people go investigating and peeing in a circle at locations. I'm gonna summon something. Come out, demon!
I would laugh if something actually did happen, but like, what if we just figured something out?
That's it.
We just unlocked the ancient keys to summoning or something. Like,
right?
We've been doing it wrong this entire time.
Look, okay. I know salt is like easy to get, but check this out. I think this is gonna blow your mind. What if we all just urinate in a big circle? My house is haunted. How do we do it? How do we banish the spirits? Well, first of all, you have to run around the house urinating. Make sure you complete the circle. If you don't complete the circle, drink a bunch of Gatorade and keep running.
That's fantastic. Oh god, there's no
Imagine cleansing somebody's house. I'm gonna pee in this room till everything leaves. Then I'm gonna pee in the next room. Eventually, all the smell is just gonna like make the spirits leave through the one open door.
That sounds like some Old West stuff, right? Like, how do we get rid of the demon that's in this house? Well, I'm no expert, but last I heard, peeing in a circle does the trick.
But you look over your shoulder, and dude's pissing in the corner. He's like, I got an idea.
I saw my cousin do this once, and it worked. It's crazy. All right.
Maybe those big jars in old westerns weren't spittoons. They were just little pea canisters, just in case.
That's a thought. That's a thought right there.
4 corners. Put one in every corner of the building. Guys, we're going to protect this place. People are going to die. We don't need them coming back.
That's right. Absolutely.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious.
We just went on like 3 minutes talking about peeing in circles.
That's the show, guys. We just
high quality show and entertainment right there. Woohoo! Hey, but that's what you signed up for it, right? So what story would you like to read off with, Dave?
Okay, so around the 16th century would have been the 1500s. It really became popular to kind of assume somebody is a werewolf. Based off of like mental disease or, people you didn't like, you just like said, hey, or there was actually people who could have just been murderers. And they said, yep, that's a werewolf.
Yep.
Let me see which guy was earlier. I think this one was, nope, he wasn't. So one of the well-known werewolf trials or lynchings, whatever you want to call it, happened to a guy named Peter Stubbe, I guess is his name, Stubbe. And this happened in 1589. I guess he's got several different names or spellings of his name, which is like Stump and Stumpf. Okay.
Makes sense.
So I like calling him Stubbe, like Captain Stubbe. So, okay. So the only actual record of the case of Peter Stubbe, a.k.a. the Werewolf of Bedburg, is a lurid pamphlet, supposedly a translation from some now lost German original that was circulated in London in 1590. According to the pamphlet, Stubbe, who from his youth was greatly inclined to kill, he made a deal with the devil, requesting specifically to work his malice on men, women, and children in the shape of some beast, whereby he might kill without dread of danger of his own life. And wow, this is really like the text is getting all messed up because it's being translated, I guess, because these are all in air quotes. And known to be the executioner or executor of any bloody enterprise which he meant to commit. The devil gave him a belt, which being put about him, he was transformed into the likeness of a greedy, devouring wolf. So basically, he had a belt that he would put on. And once that belt was on, he transformed to this wolf, given to him by the devil. The pamphlet pegged Stubby as a serial killer who murdered and sometimes ate his victims over a 25-year period. That's a long time, man. That's a long time. He was also accused of incest with his daughter, as well as killing and eating his son. Most historians speculate that Stubby was railroaded for political purposes or to calm those who were terrified of the demons that were killing the townspeople. When he was captured, Stubby told all about his deal with the devil and the magic belt that turned him into a wolf, confessing to murder, incest, and cannibalism. Stubby's execution on October 31st, Halloween, 1589, in Bedburg, Germany, was an exceptionally gruesome process. He was first latched to a wheel, like the wagon wheels, basically.
Yeah.
Where the flesh was torn from his body with red-hot pincers. Next, his arms and legs were broken. Then his head was chopped off. Finally, his body was burned. Stubby's girlfriend, who was also a distant relative, and daughter... Wait, what?
Ew.
Okay. Both accused of incest were also... Okay, so his daughter and his girlfriend, who was a distant relative, were both accused of incest and were also tortured and burned alive. After the executions, a wolf's body was set up in public, its head replaced with Stubby's, as a warning to anybody contemplating lycanthropy.
Ew.
And here you thought the Salem witch trial ladies had it bad.
Dude. Nope.
Yeah. The Germans, they don't mess around.
No.
They don't mess around.
No, they do not. So, that's fucked up. On a lighter note,
Happy thoughts.
we're going to talk about some good werewolves. Okay?
There's good werewolves.
Yeah, there are. There's good werewolves.
I guess in the movies there's always got to be that one.
Right, his name's not Jacob either. So I'm going to talk about the type of werewolf first, and we're
Are
going
they
to go
covered
from
in
there.
glitter?
No. That was vampires.
No. I never watched the movies.
Oh, well. Do you watch Lost Boys, right? They're blood glittered.
Huh?
Did you ever watch the movie Lost Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're blood glittered.
Did it?
You know that? Yeah. If you go back and watch, like, when the vampires die, their blood is very glittery.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yep. So, back in the day, there was this myth of a Benandanti werewolves. So, they're unique because they are not only a particular type of werewolf, they also carry with them their own unique legend and myth. In fact, the myth of the Benandanti werewolf dies out sometime around 1610, when the werewolves become the very first thing that they had spent their time in the underworld defeating. The original Benandanti werewolves claimed that they were beings that stayed in human form during the day, but at night went to the underworld to defeat evil beings, namely witches. These wolves did not so much change shape, but leave one shape to take another. During this time, they would ensure that the paths from the earthly world to the underworld were secure, and they would heal the sick and, of course, fight off evildoers, the Malandanti. So, Benandanti were the good ones, and the Malandantis were the bad ones.
So I wonder if this is where benevolent and malevolence come in.
Maybe. That's a
Interesting.
good, very good link there. I didn't think about that. That's good. So the Benandantis fight with the Malandantis occurred mainly on 4 different nights of the year. These different nights and different times coordinated with the times of the year for planting and harvesting crops. When they weren't spending their time protecting and healing the villages or fighting off the Malandani, Benindandi werewolves were thought to leave their human form at night to meet with other Benindandi werewolves. Throughout the years, the Benindandi werewolves also maintained an anti-witchcraft position. However, in 1610, a group of Benindandis were brought under inquisition, and they were found guilty of committing acts of witchcraft and in fact of being witches. Some say that the Benindandi was in fact made up of many packs of werewolves long ago. However, these same believers feel as though they must sadly lost their battle with the underworld witches, and that it was these same witches that assumed the Benindandi name and were found guilty in the Inquisition. So, in 1962, however, a man by the name of, I'm going to say Thias, or Theus.
In 1962?
Yeah, or 1692. 1692. Jeez, sorry. 1692. A man by the name of Theus came forward as a werewolf and was said to be the Benindandi of the kind. Of course, the tale of the story is also unto its own, brings up many different twists on the Benindandi legend, but many believe that if someone such as Theus could come forward as being a Benindandi werewolf, when they were all thought to be extinguished as witches, that perhaps there must be more of its kind. And now we're going to talk about Theus. I got an article on him as well.
Real quick, I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't any, that I didn't find any Roman ties to like lycanthropy or shapeshifters like werewolves.
Yeah.
You know, because they had some like the minotaurs and stuff like that, but no werewolves. That's interesting.
Yes, I agree. And for some reason, I don't have the. Sorry, frustrations. I think I exited out the or let go of the wrong tab. Gosh dang it! Bear with me. I'm sorry.
I guess Nubius would be no, because he's not a shapeshifter. He just had the head of a dog.
You talking Anubis?
Anubis, yeah, that's what I meant. Anubis. No, I'm trying to think of like different mythological creatures that would kind of relate to the werewolf, but you know, I'm not really coming up with any.
Yeah,
which is kind of odd.
It's hard to. So, man, this I had a whole like
thing.
Yeah, I had a whole like page. Poligny, werewolf, witch trials, Estonia, Demon Taylor. Dang. Okay, well, let's just go with this. So in 1692, an 80-year-old man by the name of Theus openly confessed to being a werewolf without the prerequisite of torture session. During his trial, he claimed werewolves were the hounds of God who routinely went into hell to combat demons and witches. They also brought back the earthly goods demons had stole from the people. Theus went as far as to admonish a priest claiming his work as a werewolf was far more godly than anything else that the priest had done. The church was aghast, of course. For centuries, their narrative was dependent on the fact that werewolves were the devil's playthings. By that point, they had run tens of thousands of trials all over Europe condemning confessed werewolves, most of whom were put to death brutally. But Theus wasn't burnt to death at the stake. Instead, his punishment was 10 lashes. He was banished from the church as the judge did not buy his good werewolf bit. Yeah, so the article I had was much more than that, but that's okay. Just, you know, F my life. But the fact that this guy came forward, and they didn't mention the Benindandi stuff at all, but they just kind of did like a quick little synopsis of it, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is.
Right.
Which one are you going to talk about?
I was actually going to talk about another one that I kind of found fascinating, was the case of Jacques Roulette.
Yes.
This one was a little bit later than Stubby. This was 1598. This took place in Touraine, in Angers. In that year, 2 hunters came across 2 wolves feeding on the body of a dead 15-year-old boy. As they chased the wolves into the forest, they came across Jacques Roulette with his clothing in tatters, his hands drenched in blood, and with shreds of human flesh under his fingernails. Roulette was dragged before the court in Angers, where he was charged with murder. During his questioning, when he may have been tortured, Jacques Roulette claimed that he had been a werewolf ever since, and I found this fascinating. Claimed he was a werewolf ever since using a salve his parents had given him years before. People who testified that they had turned themselves into werewolves often said that they had used a salve rubbed onto their bodies to make the transformation. The salve was possibly a hallucinogenic, often containing the plants of belladonna or nightshade, that tricked the individual's mind into thinking he'd been changed while he actually lay in a coma or perhaps on a drug-induced spree, killed people. And I think that was something that I noticed with a lot of these instances where people claim to be werewolves is they use these salves. Other wolf hallucinations may have been accidentally inflicted. For example, an individual's diet may have included bread infected with the ergot fungus, which can be found in cereal crops and contains chemicals similar to lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD, basically, which is a powerful hallucinogenic psychoactive drug. Also, people who ingest food contaminated with LSD reported having horrible visions that include being attacked by or turning into vicious animals.
Jeez.
So, could this guy have the salve? Could it have had LSD in it? Roulette's account stated that his brother Jean and his cousin Julian were also werewolves, and that the three of them would often go out hunting women and children together. That's something another common theme that I've noticed with a lot of these people where they went after children.
Oh yeah, it's quite prevalent in these stories that children are like the main things they go after, which just
I get the fact, like, they're the weakest link in a family. Like, the father would probably be the strongest, mother would be the middle, and then the children would be the weakest. So, I mean, it'd be like going after a fallen lamb, basically. Roulette was sentenced to death on the grounds of murder, werewolfism, and cannibalism. He eventually appealed to the Parliament of Paris, and his sentence was revoked and reduced to 2 years in the mental institution on the grounds that his testimony was taken under duress and during a time that he was not of sound mind.
Jeez.
Mental illness may account for Roulette's behavior, but as far as we're aware, he never made any claims as such as making a pact with the devil or, whatever other Europeans accused of werewolfism had done. Today, lycanthropy is used as a psychiatric term, used to describe an individual who believes he or she is or has transformed into an animal and behaves accordingly. The term clinical lycanthropy also is used in order to distinguish it from its use in werewolf legend. So there's several reasons why, like, this guy's whole story, like, this wasn't the entire story, but there were several reasons why, like, if you read the entire story, you would say that the LSD was the culprit.
Absolutely.
In fact, the first mention of European belief in werewolves, according to this author, is 1550 BC, before Christ, where it was recorded that King Lycaon of Arcadia served human flesh to the god Zeus and is transformed into a wolf for his crimes. The term lycanthrope is derived from this story. Oh shit, if I just read this more. The Roman poet Ovid wrote about this over 1500 years later. At the beginning of the 17th century, the punishment of witchcraft was prosecuted with full vigor by English authorities who regarded werewolves as victims of delusion induced by a natural superabundance of melancholic. I don't know what the hell that means. The persecution of witches by the English state only declined after the Protestant Revolution. The wolf itself became extinct in England shortly after. So, in England, the werewolf trials that were going on in Europe kind of went hand in hand with the some of the witch trials in England, and in turn, they kind of got rid of all the wolves. They hunted them. They hunted them to extinction. Because I know, if I'm correct, if I remember correctly, I think some legend and lore in England stated that the wolf was kind of like the hellhound was kind of like the tool of the devil. It was the tool of witchcraft. It was like their it was their eyes. That's how they would move around or whatever, instead of flying on a broomstick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
it's crazy.
I
never realized how far back werewolf tales went.
It's insane. It's kind of crazy. LSD itself was finally isolated in 1918 by a Swiss chemist named Arthur Stoll, and then further developed, of course, in Switzerland post World War II, and then was, of course, people have been using it. It was actually used in the U.S. and England as a therapeutic treatment for psychiatric patients. How messed up is that? These guys are already screwed up in their head, and they're just giving them LSD. Here, we got the cure right here.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Now I'm curious as to when straitjackets became a thing. It's about the same time. And they're like, man, these people are really having problems with this treatment.
Well, muzzles too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to have muzzles close by.
But. So another odd thing about Roulette's case was he wasn't persecuted and put to death or executed for all this.
What was this?
Like, this was a odd ruling, considering,
Sounds like it.
Like I guess the Parliament of Paris dealt with civil law matters over the majority part of northern and central France. And it's just interesting that a reportedly poor man, I guess Roulette was poor, somehow he gained access to this court. So like somebody you had to be rich to get that kind of judicial system in France at that time. Like, this wasn't a common suit. It wasn't a common matter. So like a civil law matter, being treated as a civil law matter, was completely different from these werewolf hunts and these werewolf trials. So he had to have somebody that was wealthy, somebody that knew the legal system over there, who kind of helped him out, because he would have faced torture, because that was commonplace then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this little tidbit: torture of suspects and cruel methods of executions were only abolished in France in 1788, and this happened in 1598.
Like, can you imagine all the people that were tortured that were completely innocent?
Yeah, I mean, does that ever really happen though? It's just as bad as the witch. Actually, it's worse, because what did they say the numbers?
I'm not even saying werewolves or witches. I'm just saying in general, if they were a suspect of something, they had complete legal authority to torture them.
Torture them into admitting they're a werewolf. Yeah. Which is just stupid.
Yeah. Oh, so you're telling me that if I admit to you that I'm a werewolf, you'll stop torturing me? Yes. Okay, I'm a werewolf. Cool, you're gonna die.
All right, kill him.
Like,
burn him.
Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right? Like,
yeah.
Hey, we found you. Somebody said that you might be a werewolf. We're gonna torture you for days and days on end until you admit you're a werewolf.
Well, see, here's the funny thing. Like, back then, like the 1500s, 1600s, that period right there was tens of thousands of people that were executed for being a werewolf, tortured and executed. They didn't get the kind of court system that Jacques had.
Yeah.
That's insane. But then again, you think about, like, it wasn't even, not even 100 years later, the Salem witch trials. There was no actual court system for that. It was a he said, she said thing, and that was it.
That's why today's matters cannot be left up to just the people, because people's emotions run wild.
Exactly.
You have to have law and order. If you don't, people's emotions run wild. Now, there are cases where the law and order has failed. Yeah. But I'd rather go through cases of law and order than being judged by multiple people that let their emotions run wild.
And also back then, like, obviously they didn't have the science that we have now, but like the way they had to prove themselves was so stupid. Like with witchcraft. You just had Monty Python coming to your head.
I just think back to Monty Python every single time. Does she weigh the same as a duck? Yeah, she told me it knew. It got better. What else floats on water?
That scene. That is just that line. She turned me into a newt. I got better.
Exactly. It's not my nose, it's a false one. Burn her anyway. You just get rid of anybody you didn't like. Oh.
Yeah, and how many of these people got framed for like murder?
Yeah.
Honestly, because I'm sure that was pretty easy to do
back then.
Yeah. Just give them some. Here's some bread. It's good bread. It's not the LSD bread. Eat this, and then we're gonna like throw you in the woods with some bodies and shit, and make you look like you murdered somebody, and you just don't know where you've been for the past 10 hours.
You have no alibis, so you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wish I could live back in those days and just like frame a bunch of people for stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Life was so much easier.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a quote by H.H. Holmes.
Life is so much easier.
Life was so much easier.
When you're 6 feet, 12 feet under?
Or something like that.
So, are you finished with your story?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. The next one I'm going to talk about is actually a story that was so horrible that it was they tried to erase it from history, but clearly it didn't work out. So,
is this American Werewolf in London?
Not at all. No. It was December 14th, 1598, when a seemingly common tailor from Chalons, France, found himself in a court facing numerous crimes. His name has vanished since that very day, yet what he did would live on as nightmares for centuries. At his shop in Paris, the tailor was accused of luring children in, capturing and torturing and sexually abusing them before slicing their throats.
Damn.
Oof. Some accounts also state that necrophilia was a part of the routine as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, then the tailor swapped his role of the tailor for that of a butcher. He laid out the bodies, disjoined them neatly, carved them up like a side of beef, and had them for dinner. This might sound like a simple case of cannibalism, except that he allegedly captured more children by prowling the nearby woods at night after taking the form of a wolf. With dozens of children going missing, the tailor became a suspect. His shop was searched, and among the many horrific things uncovered, there were barrels filled with bleached bones of children. The tailor was taken into custody and and tortured. To get a confession from the 10 to 45 estimated murders he committed. Yeah, such an uplifting and inspirational stories tonight, guys. I know, they're so good. Not really. It's horrible.
We did have one. I mean,
That's why I said it. I should have saved it for last, but A verdict of guilty was quickly reached, of course. The tailor was sentenced to burn at the stake, with the customary for witches, werewolves, and other fiendish people of the time. From the courtroom up until his body was consumed by flames, the werewolf Chalons made no attempt to plead for his innocence. He continued to cuss and curse in the most evil of fashions until his last breath. Of course, we can't review his case and explore it further in modern times. All we have left is the story as it has been passed along through the centuries. The court felt like the acts of the demon tailor were so horrible and shocking that no one should ever dare read the accounts ever again. Just like the cannibalistic serial killer, the court documents were burned to ashes.
Man,
That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
it's pretty messed up.
God.
You'd think a butcher would have a better way to dispose of the bodies, but
Bleaching the bones, apparently, not a good way to do it.
yeah. I mean, why don't you just grind them up into a powder?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Either way.
simple solutions call for simple action.
Messed up, but yeah.
Oh,
That one I found, I just thought it was crazy disgusting. But
so, guys, join our After Dark show where we're going to tell you all about the uplifting stories.
yeah.
The inspirational werewolves. No, it's honestly, like, again, this is one of those things that never really gets the recognition or talked about in so many circles, just because I think for us here in the U.S., the Salem witch trials kind of looms over our head so much so that we don't think about other countries, the things that they went through. And, werewolves seem to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like fictional, like they don't seem too fictional. But yet we have Native Americans talking about shapeshifters, and yet people have no problem believing in shapeshifters.
Right?
But
like
you have an issue with werewolves, but you don't have an issue with shapeshifters.
Like, there's so many stories down in Mexico, Arizona, like of
the skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers. Like,
yeah.
that's tradition. That's a shapeshifter.
Yeah. Guess what? That's what a werewolf is.
Right?
Yeah, that it blows my mind. But the I don't know how it is over in Europe though. Like
I
with
don't
this
either.
topic.
I'm sure they're more open-minded because they've been around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And to be fair, yes, Europe did have heavy influence of the church, but America had more dominance of Christian faith and the church ruling. I guess not really the church ruling over here. It was more of Christianity and faith and stuff like that. So it was just all labeled, demonic and demon and stuff like that. But over there, at least they could be like, oh, we recognize these things are happening, but we're still going to say they're of the devil.
That's why we didn't want to lie to anybody, and we went straight to the source and got it from the Vatican.
Exactly.
Exactly. Did you see this? What do you call a one-night stand with a ghost?
No.
A horrifying experience.
God. Mike. That's my roommate. Bodies.
Bollocks.
You are ridiculous. He just
Love
wanted
it.
to make me see the because his dad jokes are unparalleled.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, Mike.
Yeah, he's got really good ones.
So we do have more tales. There's still like 7 minutes left, and I don't want to go through all these because I want to save some for the After Dark show. Guys, if you haven't yet, if you want to join us over on the After Dark show after this, it'll be at 9:15 when it starts. We are going to be continuing some of these tales of the werewolf trials in Europe with different instances of lycanthropy and their executions and things like that. Again, keeping it on a high note. Join us over on our Patreon page. The link is right there. You can type that into your browser, or I can just put it in the comment section here, and you can just click the link. But we will be continuing the show over there. Our Patreon is not that much, guys. And also, everything that we get from that goes to help the show. Helps us do some more things. I think I'll be finishing up our McIntyre Villa video this week.
Is it going to have my videos in it?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Caught some real spooky stuff there at McIntyre Villa, guys. Just saying. It was a great time.
So I'll be putting that vlog up here sometime. Hopefully soon. Hopefully by the end of the week. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it on our Patreon page first. So our patrons get first crack at it. So yeah,
Smart.
we got a lot of time to talk about stuff, but I don't want to go through all of our material right now.
I don't want to either because I got more stories to talk about.
So
How
how's it
about
going,
this?
guys?
Don't listen to Hollywood when it comes to werewolves and vampires. It's all fake. There you go.
We're gonna talk glitter and glam.
Yep. Glee.
No, next week we are going to be talking about the Lizzie Borden murders.
As if it wasn't a better subject.
And, you know, I really want to get up there and investigate that place, but...
That'd be amazing. Sure, it's expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I think you're probably going to have to rent out the whole place to do so. And I'm going to assume it's a couple $100 a room.
At least. At least.
Because, like with Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, it was going to cost me $900 to investigate and, yeah, all that shit.
I'm sure inflation's also made ghost hunting go up too.
I'm waiting for that to go down. Not the well, that and the amount of ghost hunters out there. You know, I was thinking about this today. I've been thinking about it actually for quite a while. The last few weeks, the paranormal scene has gotten so different.
It's so overpopulated.
It's not just that, but I mean, like the whole thing has changed over the course of a decade. It has just changed. And I feel like one of those old timers where I'm like, you know, you damn kids and your
damn kids, get off my
lawn,
lawn,
you
you damn whippersnappers.
you and your motor scooters.
You and your cut bait material and screaming at the camera, I swear.
The hippity hops. But no, like it's really changed, and anymore you're not an investigator unless you're doing something with social media and putting your name out there. You're not.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Think about.
It's like nobody would be an investigator if they weren't getting attention from it anymore.
Which is, yeah. You know what I
That's what it seems like. It just seems this way. I'm not saying everybody's like this, guys. I'm just saying like it seems nowadays. If you're not getting attention on social media or on any like streaming platform,
you're not a successful ghost hunter.
Yeah, and it's like, what does that even mean?
Right.
You're popular. You are trying to be famous or whatever. Dude, it's changed, bro. It's changed. When I started, this is where I said I was going to sound old. When I started, we had retarded microphones and digital recorders that were like so shitty. But it was fun. It was exhilarating, but it was also like we did it for ourselves. You know, we did it because we love to do it. Now, if you're on social media at all, and this is probably part of social media fault, these media companies' faults, you know, it's made people to where they have to be seen, they have to be relevant, and you know,
absolutely,
the networking is just so much different now. It's so much easier than it was, but you know. We can talk about that at another time. We can talk. I could talk about this shit all night, but we can make a different show about it. Or listen to David bitch. David's rants.
There you go.
Dave's rants. Maybe that'll be like a little video. And no, I'm not drinking. I'm drinking. I'm drinking tea. If anybody's wondering.
It's brown liquid.
Just because I have a solo cup does not mean I'm drinking.
Sounds about right.
All right, guys, we're going to jump off here. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, learning a little bit about these werewolf trials in Europe. Join us again on the Patreon. Links in the chat box there. We're going to be on at 9:15, and we'll be continuing with several stories of these trials and these executions and stuff like that. Some of whom get pretty wild. So join us over there, and we'll see you next time if you're not. Anything you want to add, Charles?
Nah, solid. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.